Hello everyone, very good morning. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Praveen and I'm going to be the presenter for today's session. Just want to confirm a few things before we start the session. Hope my voice is audible and the display is well and clear. If in case you're not able to hear my voice or you're not able to see the display, please let us know through the chat. I will give you a few seconds for it. So let's wait until we get few confirmation. All right, I don't see any comments, so let me consider it as everyone is able to hear me properly and the display is well and clear as well. Okay, so this session is going to be recorded. We will be able to share you the presentation and you can also raise your questions. So this is going to be for about 45 minutes to 1 hour. So you can keep raising your questions and I will answer them towards the end of the session, where we will have last 10-15 minutes allocated for the question and answer session. All right, and yeah. So today's topic is going to be automatic password resets. When I say that, we are going to discuss in detail about how to configure a password reset, how you can remotely manage the passwords from Password Manager Pro, how you can schedule them, and while resetting the passwords, how can you generate the passwords based on your complexity requirements, etc. So this is going to be the agenda for today, and we had my colleague Christos has given 2 sessions before this. So this masterclass has started on 12th of July, and we are doing it once in every 2 weeks, and it will happen on Thursday. All right, so this is going to be the complete agenda of this masterclass, and today's topic is on automatic password reset. So I will just give you a few minutes to just go through this so that you can attend the sessions whichever you want. And all the completed sessions is once again available in our registration site. Okay, so if you go to this registration site, you will see the previous webinars, the recorded versions you can view from here, and also all the question and answers of that particular sessions. You can download it in a PDF format and you can have a look into it as well. Right, so yeah, just take a look at the various sessions of this masterclass. Okay, fine. So this is going to be the agenda for the day. So first we will discuss about password policy, which is nothing but generating the passwords based on the complexity requirements which are being defined by you. Then how to configure a remote password reset. Then we will see a remote password reset without using agents, followed by using agents, and then we can see how we can schedule the password reset. That is, we can rotate them on periodic basis. And we do have a feature called password reset listener, which will allow you to execute post scripts from the tool. We will also have a detailed discussion about it. So the crux of today's webinar is going to be managing the passwords remotely from Password Manager Pro. That is, when you reset the password from this tool, it's going to get automatically updated on the target servers, devices, databases, etc. All right, with no further delay, let's get into the session. So the first topic is going to be password policy. All right. In Password Manager Pro, we have the ability for the administrators to define the password policy. When I say password policy, you can create your own policy requirements by specifying the minimum password length, maximum password length, the types of characters which can be allowed, and you can also restrict the characters which cannot be allowed, whether the password should start with an alphabet or not. and whether it can contain the login name. You can also set a minimum age for the passwords. Apart from it, you can also set the reuse of old passwords. All right. So these are a few predefined policy which comes in the tool by default, right? And you can also create your own password policy. You can give a name for it. You can start defining the complexity requirements. Once your own password policy is being created, you can set that as a default policy. So when you set that as a default policy, any resources which are going to be added after setting it as default will be applied with that policy. So now you might ask a question, what will happen to the passwords which are imported before defining this policies? If that is the case, you can very well create a new one. You can set it as a default, and we have various options in applying this policy. You can simply select all the resources, go to resource actions, and you can associate a password policy from here in bulk. For example, you can put strong and you can set it for all the resources. This is one way. The other way is you can go to the resource group, okay, click on actions, and you can go to the resource groups. You can select the particular resource group, click on the bulk configuration, and you can associate the password policy. So whatever resources which are present or part of this group will be associated with this password policy, and this is going to be happening in bulk. Right. So this is the way you're going to set for the resources in case you have added them before defining the password policy. Great. So I think this should be more enough about the password policy. I thought of explaining this because before getting into the remote password reset, you should know how to set the policy. Only then you will be able to reset the passwords with the policy which has been defined by you. Okay, all right. And the next thing in our agenda is configuring the remote password reset. So yeah, in Password Manager Pro, we manage the passwords based on the resource type. When I say resource type, if you want to manage a local account password of a Windows box, the resource type should be Windows. And if it is going to be a domain account, the resource type should be Windows domain. The same way, all the other things are pretty self-explanatory. So you can see Linux, which is going any flavors of Unix or can be defined as Linux. Databases like MS SQL, MySQL, Oracle. Okay, so we have a set of resources for which we support out-of-the-box password resets. In other words, for all these resource types which are being defined here, Password Manager Pro has the ability to perform the password resets on the target machines. So if you take any database like MySQL, Sybase, Oracle, we do it. And if you take any networking devices like CatOS, iOS, Pix, we can do it out of the box. Firewall like Juniper NetScreen, and yeah, Solaris, Sybase, VMwares. So various things for which we support password resets out of the box will be available in the resource types which has been mentioned over here. So now you might get a question, what will happen to the ones which are not listed here? All right. Yes, for the ones which are not listed here, we do have other features if it is going to be a SSH or telnet based device or server, for providing the scripts, it's pretty straightforward. So we will be able to help you with it. All you need to do is do a PuTTY session to that particular device or server, perform a password reset for a particular account. If in case the device needs additional configuration, when I say additional configuration, you might have to log in as a normal account, then switch to a root or enable some privilege account. Only then you will be able to perform the password reset. Then in that case, in the PuTTY session, perform the password reset for the normal account. Then once again switch to a privilege account, perform password reset for it, send us the complete screenshot so that we can help you with the scripts. So all you need to do is just launch a PuTTY session, perform the password reset, and send us the complete screen along with the login, the complete sequence along how do you log in, because we need the prompts after each and every command is being executed. So the complete screenshot will help us to provide you the scripts, and adding the scripts is going to be straightforward. Okay, so this is one way. And we also support APIs, which we are going to discuss in detail in the upcoming sessions. Okay, so we do have that option for managing the passwords of application, which we don't support out of the box. But today's session is going to be only on the devices which we are going to support out of the box. For the other things and applications, we will have a session which is going to happen in our masterclass series. Okay, so it will be happening in this particular things, integrations and advanced configuration. So when we come to this topic, we will explain about the APIs. Okay, and yeah, as I said, we also have a reset listener. So reset listener will also help you to perform password resets for the devices which are not supported by us out of the box. But reset listener is like something we do post the password reset. Like, for example, you reset a password of a particular server, okay, and you want the server to be rebooted up after the password reset is happening. So in that case, you can go for this reset listener scripts. I will explain you how this will work in detail towards the end of today's session. All right. So now coming back to configuring the password reset, okay, each and every resource will have its own way of managing the passwords. Okay, so first let's take an example of a Windows server, a normal Windows server, which is attached to a domain. Okay, so when I say when you are trying to manage the local accounts, the resource type should be Windows, right? So for Windows, and if it is a part of a domain member server, no additional configuration is required. All you need to do is just navigate to the services console, and you have to find Password Manager Pro service, and you have to run this service with the privilege account. So once you run the Password Manager Pro service with the privilege account, that is more sufficient for managing all the passwords of the local accounts which are present in the domain member server. Okay, and if in case you are not able, if let's say it's a workstation, okay, so in which a workstation which is not a part of a domain, in that scenario, even if you run a service with a privileged domain account, it's not going to help, because the workstation will not take that as a privileged account. In that case, you have to simply click on the resource action next to it and configure password reset. And in this administrator account, you can select a privileged local account, okay, which has the ability to perform the password resets on that particular workstation. Okay, so one way, if it is a domain member server, we automatically make use of the service account and we perform the password reset. And if that doesn't have it, then you have to configure, click on the configure remote password reset, which is next on the resource actions. So you have to click on this and you have to supply a privilege account. Once you supply a privilege account, we will make use of that account, connect to the target machine, and then we reset the passwords. So this is an example of a local account. And Password Manager Pro has the ability to manage the passwords of a domain account. So anything other than a Windows member server, okay, for anything other than it, you have to exclusively supply a privilege account in order to manage the passwords. So if you are going to manage a domain account, let it be a domain account, user account, a service account, anything, all right, you have to supply the domain administrator account over here. So Password Manager Pro will make use of the domain admin account. It will connect to the target machine, and then it will manage all the other passwords. Let's say it's a service account, or let it be a scheduled task, IIS AppPool, web config, anything we support, we will be able to remotely change the passwords for it. Right. And yeah, the next thing is I will give you an example for one database. I will also give you a example for a Unix-based one, a networking device, and a cloud application. All right. Since we support a huge list, I will not be able to cover each and everything in detail. I will give you an example of every one. I mean, each type, so that it will be useful for you to configure the rest. Okay, so now let's take a Linux box. So in the Linux box, the same way, you have to click on configure remote password reset. All right, and here you can select the method. So whether it's going to be SSH or telnet, you can select the remote login method. And this is a normal account, because the Linux will be designed in such a way that it has to log in as a normal account and then switch to a root or a sudo account to perform it. All right, so you can see it over here. This is how a Linux password has to be configured, and we do support PKI based, that is SSH key based authentication for Linux devices. My colleague has explained about that in detail in the previous session. So if in case you want to know how to manage the SSH keys using this product, you can very well have a look at that, the previous session, available in the registration page to know about it. Okay, so this is for a Unix based machine, and the same way, for the network devices, you have to configure the remote password reset. You have to select whether it's going to be using SSH or telnet. A remote login account, it can be a normal account, and then you can choose either enable secret or enable password. So this prompts after every account is also important. In case your device have any different configuration prompt, then I request you to provide the same prompt over here and save the settings. So this is being done for a Cisco and a database. Yeah. So for MS SQL, in case of database, you have two options: either to provide a SA account over here, a privileged SA account as an MS SQL account, or even if you take MS SQL, it supports both a local authentication, that is an SA account login, or an Windows account. So if it is going to be a domain account, then you can simply choose a domain account here as well. So using this domain account as a privileged account, we log in to the SQL server and we manage all the other passwords. All right, so this is an individual mechanism or individual way to do it. And we also support password reset for Azure, AWS, Google Apps, etc. So I have added an AWS IAM account over here, and for this you have to choose the access key and the secret key of the AWS. Once that is being supplied, okay, so you need to add that as an exclusive account. The access key and the secret key has to be added over here under the same resource, and you have to configure it, right? So this is one way of doing the password reset. Now, I have showed how you have to do it for an individual accounts, right? Let's take an example. In case of you want to configure the same in bulk for all the device, right? So this can be done once again. You can click on search. Okay, let's take an example of Windows. So I'm just going to type in Windows here, all right? And I'm going to select all the Windows servers and click on remote resource actions, configure remote password reset. And if it is going to be an administrator account, a local admin account, I'm just going to choose that account and I will click on save. Once I click on save, this account is going to be applied as a privileged account on all the resources, provided all the resources have this account added underneath it. Okay, so the same way you can also do it for Linux. You can simply select SSH remote login account as a test, and a root account here. Okay, so you can provide this configuration in bulk by selecting all the resources together. This is one method, and the same thing can be applied on the resource group. Okay, so you can simply click on the resource group, and you can go to the configure remote password reset, and you will be able to do that for all the resources present in that particular group. All right, so this is other way of performing the bulk password reset. So I've showed you the examples here for a certain set of resources. However, you might need to know much on how to configure it. All right, so you can quickly refer our help documentation. If you go to the resource management remote password reset, we have explained on that in detail over here along with the screenshot. Okay, so how password reset has to be configured to each and every resource type. Okay, along with the screenshot is very much available here. So for all the databases, this is how you do it. Okay, so everything is available in our help documentation. You can very well go through it, and if in case you have any questions, you can simply send an email to our support team, and we will be able to answer you about it. All right. Now, I hope you're clear with configuring the remote password reset. The next one is how do you perform it? Okay, so we have multiple methods in which you can perform the password reset. Okay, so the first one is you go to any particular device or the server. I'm going to change the password for a particular local account here. Okay, so I'm clicking on change password reset. Now, I can type in the password manually here. Like this, I can just type in the password and I have to confirm it again. All right. Yeah, just a minute. Now, when I click on save, so here it says the minimum length must be 8 characters, which means the password which I have typed in does not meet the policy requirements. So I have to type in a password which do meet the password complexity requirements. Only then it's going to allow me to change the password. And I'm clicking on save. Yeah, now it's going to change the password reset. All right, it's going to perform the password reset from this tool. Password change successfully. Here, this is I have typed in the password manually, but you can also generate the passwords randomly like this by clicking on the generate password button next to that. So these passwords will be generated based on the policy which has been defined by you guys. Okay. And apply password changes to the remote resources. So if in case you uncheck this box, the password will be applied only locally inside Password Manager Pro. We will not perform change the password on the target machines. All right. So that's the reason for this checkbox. If the password reset is being supported by us, then this box will be applied by or checked by default. So you need not do it manually. And we also maintain the complete history of all passwords. So you can, along with the date and time stamp. Okay, so you can, whenever, if you want to retrieve any particular old password, you can simply click on this account actions and password history, and you will be able to see the old passwords along with the date and time stamp over here. Okay, so this is the other way, and to view the current password, you're just going to click on it, and or you can copy it to the clipboard as well. Okay, so this is, I have changed the password for a single account over here. Now let's take an example that particular account is a service account, or in other words, a domain account can be used to run on multiple services. So when you change the password for this particular domain account, it needs to be updated on the domain controller as well as it has to be connected to the associated services or scheduled tasks or IIS AppPool or web config files, and it has to update the passwords over there as well. Yes, if that is the case, we do support it. So I have a service account here named Gerald, and this particular service account is running on this machine, PMP-XP1, and it's been running on the services, Google Update and PMP Wrapper, etc. Okay, so now what will happen is when I change the password of this Gerald account, it will first change that on the domain controller of PMP, and then it will connect to this box, which is the PMP-XP1. It will update the password of this particular service, and it will restart the service as well. So here you can define, okay, if you click on this edit account, so it's going to be seen over here, whether it has to just reset the services or not, and it has to be restarted or not. So everything can be configured by you. If it is an AppPool account, you can just restart the IIS services, etc. So you can simply check this, and let me try to change the password for this particular account, and I'm clicking on save. Now, as I mentioned, first it will connect to the device. It will change the password on your domain controller for this account. Once it's been changed, it will connect to the associated services, which is running on that particular group of machine, and then it will restart all the services over that, which you can see it on the services here. Okay, so if you go to the audit records, you will be able to see what has happened to that particular password. Okay, so everything will get updated over here. Since this is a test machine that has been filled, however, it has the ability to do it. And yeah, so this is for performing a password reset on a particular account with the agentless mechanism. So what's the difference between agent and agentless? Okay, so in agentless, if it is a Windows account, we make use of the native Windows WMA protocol and SDKs to manage the passwords. So we connect to the target machines using the WMI and native Windows SDKs, and we perform it. So it's the port range for the Windows. It's going to be huge, or it's going to be ephemeral. However, you can limit those ports by executing few commands. All right, we have that KB article on how to restrict the WMI ports, and we will be able to share it with you if needed. All right, so as usual, raise a support ticket and we will be able to share you the port requirements. And when it comes to anything else like SSH or telnet based device or server, we need the SSH port 22 or the telnet port 23 to be opened. And if it is going to be a SQL, we use the database port. Okay, so it can be either 1433, the default port number, or if in case you have used any other port, you can specify that particular port over here. So Password Manager Pro will connect to that particular box using the port specified and with the privilege accounts supplied over here to manage the passwords, including the privilege account. And few connections, like if you're going to do a password reset on a SQL server, or if it is going to be an Active Directory, and let's say if the connection is encrypted or it's over SSL, then you can choose this SSL option. When you choose the SSL, you have to import the Active Directory or the SQL certificate inside Password Manager Pro. So here in this help document, we have given you the steps on how to import that particular SSL certificate. You can just refer it. All you need to do is just download the certificate in a base64 format. Okay, so you have to copy that certificate in a base64 format inside the bin directory over here, and you have to execute the command import cert.bat space the name of the certificate along with the path. And if it is a Unix based installation, then you have to go for sh import cert.sh and the path of the certificate. Okay, so this will add the certificate to the Password Manager Pro certificate store, and the connection, whenever the password reset is happening, it's going to be over a encrypted channel. All right. Yeah. So this is for password reset. All right. In the agentless mode. Now, the next topic is going to be using agents. So when I say using agents, Password Manager Pro can very well perform password reset without Password Manager Pro can very well perform the password reset without deploying the agents. Agents are only required if you have any firewall blockage or if the servers are behind the DMZ. Okay, so what will the agent do? The agent will periodically poll the Password Manager Pro to perform password resets. So it's going to be by default set to 80 seconds. And it will, this way, you need not have any firewall ports open on the target machine. So for the agent to work, all you need to ensure is you need to have the web application accessed on your agent machine. So even the agent will communicate on the same port in which the web server is running on, right? So using this port, the Password Manager Pro will keep, the agents will be polling the server to know the status of it, okay? And if it has any actions like to password reset to be performed, it will perform it. All right. Now, how to deploy these agents? All you need to do is go to this admin tab. You have Windows domain and Linux. So Windows agent is for managing any local account passwords. Windows domain is for managing domain account passwords, and Linux is for any flavors of Unix. Okay, so you can simply download the 32-bit or a 64-bit agent. When you download it, it's going to be as a zip file. You can extract that zip file in any particular location you want. Once it's been extracted, just open a command prompt as an administrator and go to the agent installation directory and execute the command agent installer.exe space start. And when you hit enter, it is going to install the agent service, as well as it will start the agent service automatically. So when you go to the the services console, you will see a service which is in the name of PMP agent, and you can just start the service. Once you start the service, we will automatically add that particular agent inside the Password Manager Pro application as a resource, and it will be specifying here stating that it's been added during the agent installation. So it will be available in the description. As I mentioned you, agents are not required. We can very well perform password reset if in case you have a direct connectivity. Agent needs to be installed only if there is any firewall blockage or if the servers are in DMZ. This way, these one-way agents, you need not have any firewall ports open. Only the agent will be communicating with the server, and the server will never contact the agent machine. Right? Yeah. So I hope you're clear with the password reset using the agents. Now, periodic password reset. I was explaining you on how to do on-demand reset for a particular account. So whenever you want to change a password for a particular account, you simply go to that account, you click on account actions, change password, and you're going to change the password. This is one way, or you're going to simply search for an account. And once that is available, you can also change the password from here. Apart from this, we also have an option to perform these password resets in bulk. So you have to do it on the resource group level. You have to click on the groups, resource actions, perform password reset. So when you are changing the passwords on resource group, you can generate a unique password for every account present in that group, or you can type in one password. That is, you can type in it manually, or you can generate the password, and you can get this password applied on all the accounts present in that group. So this is one way of doing it. And when you are doing a bulk password reset, you can also get a notification on whether the password resets are successful or not. You can simply select the recipients here to whom the notification has to be sent. This is on-demand bulk password reset. The same way, we also have an option where you can perform the password reset on periodic basis. So you can click on this, you can schedule it, and you can do it on demand. Here we have this option where a pre-notification. So let's say 100 servers or 100 passwords are going to be reset tonight. You can get a pre-notification before a time frame which is being specified here, and the recipients here. So they will be all notified that there are going to be these number of passwords which are going to be reset tonight, right? And then once again, when you are performing a bulk password reset on schedule, you can either generate a unique password for every account, which is a recommended best practice by us, or you can type in one password and apply that on all the accounts, or you can allow the Password Manager Pro to generate one password and apply that same password on all the accounts which are present in that group. Okay, so this is one thing. And next comes the day. So you can start performing the password reset every 30 days or every day, starting today at evening 5 o'clock or 5:15, whatever time you want, you can schedule it, and password will be automatically reset. You can also go for a monthly schedule like this, or one time, either now or later you can perform it. Okay, so I will simply select monthly here, and the last screen is going to be the post password reset notification, which will tell you all the passwords which have been successfully reset, and if there is any failure, it will tell you the passwords which failed to reset along with the reason for the failure. So that complete life cycle can be done. The complete password can be reset on schedule basis using this periodic password reset functionality. And this can be configured on the resource group level because it's going to be a bulk password reset. All right. So hope you are clear about the periodic password resets. So the next one or the last one is going to be the password reset listener. So I was explaining you that Password Manager Pro has the ability to perform post password reset actions, right? So you can either execute a PowerShell listener, okay, or a VB script or a batch file. Anything can be executed by you. So here, we have two listeners. One is the default listener, where you can browse and select a batch file or a VB script, whatever you want. You can select a script file here, provide a name, and you have to associate a resource to it. Okay, so this is one thing. The next one is going to be the custom listener, where you can create your own PowerShell scripts and associate those scripts to a particular resource type. All right, so I have a resource, a PowerShell script created here, and this PowerShell script is being associated to the Linux servers. So let's see what this PowerShell will do. So this is a simple PowerShell. Okay, so this PowerShell, what it's going to do is, whenever I reset a password, it's going to get the list of services running on that particular server, and then it's going to be printed on this particular file which is present on in the Password Manager Pro installation directory. Okay, so I have, as I mentioned, I have associated that listener script to this Linux box, right? So now if I go ahead and if I reset the passwords of a Linux server, I'm simply changing on the passwords and I'm clicking save. So once this password is being reset successfully, the listener scripts which is being associated, this particular PowerShell script will be executed and a file with this name will be created. All right. So if you go to audit here, you will see two things. Password listener is being executed and the password is also being changed on the target machine. So using the password reset listener, you can create your own batch file scripts or PowerShell scripts. And after the password reset is being done from the product, you can execute a post script file to perform any actions you want. Whatever can be done in a scripting file can be done from the Password Manager Pro to perform a particular action. All right. So yeah. This is about the reset listener, and yes, I have pretty much covered all the important topics on today's reset feature. So I will get your questions and I will try to answer them as many as I can. Okay. So I have a question here. Apply change password for remote server. Should we select this for local or domain? What if I don't have AD integration? Will it work? As I mentioned you, for the domain attached machines, we make use of the service account credentials. So if it is not, in your case, it is not AD integrated. So it's a work group or it's a workstation which is not attached to the domain. So in your case, all you need to do is you have to go to this resources, you have to select configure password reset, and you have to select an local administrator account. Okay, so using this local administrator account, we connect to the target machine and we perform the password reset. So that's all we do. So it's pretty simple, straightforward. If it is attached to the domain, we make use of the service account credentials. If it is not attached to the domain, then you can very well click on that configure password reset and do it. So what we do is from our side, we check whether the configure password reset is being selected. If it is selected, we make use of that account and then we try to perform the password reset. If it is not selected, then we simply ignore it and we make use of the service account and try to perform the password reset. So that's how it works. All right. And yeah, so that is the only question it's been asked. So if you have any questions, yeah, I got another question now. How to monitor if the agent is running or not? How to know if the resource is in sync with PMP or not? Is there a notification alert? Yes. See, agent is going to be running as a service. Okay, so if you have any monitoring tools which can monitor the services, you can very well use that monitoring tool to check it. That's one thing. We do have a report which is exclusive to check whether the passwords which are stored inside the Password Manager Pro are in sync with the target machines or not. So this is a integrity check report which is scheduled to run at 1:45 a.m. every day. If you want, you can alter this. The reason why we have done it for 1:45 is we think during that time the network traffic will be less. Okay, so what this integrity check will do is it will take make use of each and every password inside this tool and use that password to launch the connectivity to the target machines and check whether they are in sync. And if they are not in sync, you will also get a notification. So you can schedule this report, you can schedule the integrity check for every day, and then you can schedule the report. So this report will tell you the details of passwords which are in sync with this application and the target machine. And in few scenarios, if it is not able to perform the check, we will also inform you integrity check cannot be performed with the reason stating that the target machine is not reachable or whatever it is. We will give you the reason for it. And this tool does not only manage the passwords of, we do have an option to store the passwords as vault. So for example, a website. So if it is a website, then we will, in the report, we will tell you password reset not supported, which means we cannot do it because it's just a website for which we don't manage the passwords. So to answer your questions, you can come to reports, password out of sync, you can schedule the integrity check and the report. So on daily basis, you will get a report with the list of passwords which are not in sync. So this will happen for each and every resource which is present inside the application. If you don't want to perform this for all the resources, and if you just want to do it for one or two, then you can come to this groups. Okay, you can group all those servers together and you can click on find out of sync passwords. This is on demand, and you have something called configure notifications. So when you click on this for out of sync, you can just select the notifications. So here it will run at 1:45 a.m. as I mentioned you, and it will send you the results only for that particular resources which are present in that group. So this can be configured at the group level, and you can click on the configure notification next to any resource group. Hope this answers your question. Yeah. So yeah. Um, So someone has asked what are the specific ports are required if the resource accounts are managed without the agent. Okay. So as I mentioned you, it's going to be a huge list, okay, which is difficult for me to tell you over here. However, just come to the registration page of this masterclass. We will shortly provide you a download Q&A session for this session. Okay, so we will have it displayed over here. In that, I will provide you the list of ports and the protocols which are required to perform the password resets for all the application devices service which are being supported by us. So you will get it displayed over here. All right. And please do join our future, upcoming master classes to know about the other important topics like roles, remote access, that is, you can RDP and SSH, APIs, reports, integrations, availability, and one for exclusive for managing, the MSPs. All right. So yes, the email address, it's going to be password manager pro support@manageengine.com. Thank you once again for joining this session on your busy schedule. Hope it is informative. And if you have any further questions, drop us an email and we will be glad to answer for them. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye.